are back with Throwback Thursday to reveal
who wrote it from our Who Wrote It Wednesday series.
The lyric from yesterday came from our song, I Will Never Fail, from our album, Vintage Gone Viral. And it was...
Gave it everything, felt it end me.
Like a moving train. So if you guessed AJ...
You were right. I wrote it. Natalie?
Yeah, so with that being said...
Shall I?
Why don't you divulge in the creation behind this...
Absolutely.
Masterpiece.
So I'll start with going a little more into the lyric. Gave it everything, felt it end me like a moving train. This lyric is really just about moments when you feel discouraged, when you're trying to succeed at something and you just keep failing and you kind of feel that defeat, you feel it kind of take away some of your self-worth and crush you. And it kind of takes away your ability to be motivated to continue.
And I think that that's something that everyone can relate to, and everyone has been through
all,
at least once in their life.
We've all been through in one way or another. And so for me, when I wrote this song, I was just kind of going through a tough time in between jobs and looking for something new and just not really having any success and slowly starting to doubt my self-worth and my abilities and what I'm able to do. And I had kind of gotten into kind of just a way of doubting myself in that sense when it came to career and stuff, since I had lost my job during COVID. And I know a lot of people can relate to that.
Oh, for sure.
And so it kind of just like put this little thing in my mind where I started to feel like, you know, that was something that I wasn't succeeding at, my career path, my life, whatever. And so I was just having a really hard time during this period and really just feeling like I wanted to give up. And so a lot of the verses, you'll hear it just about feeling like you were doing great and then seeing that end, feeling like you didn't have a place, feeling lost. And that's really what those verses are about in this song, is just feeling lost. But ultimately, I decided I wanted this song to be more of inspiration and something that was going to motivate me to not let that happen. And so the whole idea, I Will Never Fail, came out of a moment when, you know, I had that spark when I was just like, okay, I just can't give up. Like, the only way I'm going to fail is if I quit, if I give up, if I stop trying. And that relates to so much in life. Physical activity, relationships,
Yes.
Music.
Yeah. And I think that that's so important and so valid, because there are so many individuals out there who never reach their full potential or, you know, reach that moment of success because they do give into failure. And, you know, by no fault, things get really difficult.
It's really hard.
It's very
really
hard.
Freaking hard.
But having that positivity and having that reminder and that grit and that will to just keep pushing forward, even though you keep failing over and over, I think that that's what this song really resembles.
Yeah. And one of the things that's kind of become our motivation in terms of like running and stuff. Yes. We do a lot of races. And so that's why we put runners in the lyric video, because it definitely relates to physical activity, because that could be one of the hardest ways to realize gains.
God. Yes.
But yeah, all in all, it just became that desire to not wallow in the failure and not let that defeat me, but realize that I have the power to keep going even in the midst of that, and that I will never fail if I do. And so one of the things that I wanted to do with this song, and where I brought Natalie in, was I had written the whole thing. I had written my chorus and the part that I sing in the chorus, that's kind of in the background because there's two voices there. And so
she comes to me and she says, Natalie, this isn't chaotic enough. And I've got the journal that I utilized that I will show here. I don't know if you can read this. It says pure chaos. Like, that was the inspiration.
But yeah, so I came to her and I was like, Natalie, I need a second vocal here, and I need it to be different than mine, because the whole point of this chorus in this song is to capture, and I
the anxiety.
Yeah,
the
I
doubt.
was trying to explain it to her, and she's like, I can't really understand what you're talking about. I was like, when you're having two thoughts at once, and one of them's negative and one of them's positive, and they're both eating away at you, and you need the positive one to win out in the end.
Yeah.
But the negative one is there, and it's in the forefront. And so that's what we did with the vocals and the lyrics. And Natalie's going to go into what she wrote in a second.
Process.
But yeah, go ahead and give us some of your process, how you came up with the chaos lyrics.
So once I finally grasped and understood what you were trying to portray, I was like, okay, what are some thoughts that enter my mind when I'm having moments of self-doubt? And just to read a few, right? I've got, did I really try? Could I've given it more? Was it worth my time? Was it not worth my time at all? Do I even play a part? Where do I begin? And you kind of hear some of those ideas come to life in that chorus. It's meant to be just those constant negative thoughts circulating your mind, and then there's portions in the chorus where we kind of sync up together.
Yeah, so we had moments where we're singing the same lyric and then it deviates again.
And it's like that moment of clarity, and then you lose it again. Yeah.
And it's supposed to contrast just how difficult it is to really pull that motivation out when you're in this dark place. And so that's why I had Natalie's vocal be the forefront, because I was like, I want that hope to be kind of shrouded in the self-doubt to show
that it overpowers a lot of times, that positivity and that hope.
And ultimately what we ended up doing is we have, we're singing this chorus together, and then we have Natalie sing her verse by herself, kind of like, you do go through that moment where you just like, okay, I'm just giving up. And then I come through and it's like, no, like if I really try, I will never fail. Yeah. And so the end ends up being the refrain of, if I can find you on the darkest night. And finding you is finding yourself, your ideal self inside yourself, and being able to find that motivation, and coming through and being able to keep going in the midst of all that darkness.
Yeah. And I think that ultimately the end state or the end goal of this song is, even if you're not reaching what you think or what you define as success or a win, doesn't necessarily mean that you aren't being successful or that you're not winning. Just because it's not what you necessarily had in mind, by not giving up, you will inherently never fail, because you will find your way eventually.
Yeah. So check it out if you haven't already. We really love this one. Yes. And to me, it really did help me, and has helped me since, kind of pull my mind out of darker places.
It's great for marathon training.
Yeah, it is. So, if you haven't checked it out, go ahead and do so. You never know when you're going to need it, but just a little piece of inspiration for you. And we've all been there. And if you are going through something tough, feel free to comment on it and let us know. And
just remember that you're not alone, and that as long as you keep your head up and you keep going, you will never fail. And that's all we got for now. Bye, guys. We'll see you next week.
Where do I begin? Do I even play a part? If I really try, I might never fail. I will never fail. I will never